how many of you guys, just raise your hands, sometimes feel kind of nervous to like just talk to someone or like reach out or say hi? Raise your hand. Okay, so that's 4 out of 4 people in this room. So maybe if you're watching this, don't feel so bad about reaching out because chances are the person that you're going to talk to feels just as nervous as you do, and making friends with them might be the best thing that happened that day for them.
Anyone that knows anything about Pathways knows that the most valuable member of our Pathways family is our cafeteria worker, Miss Anita.
Miss Anita, she's really nice, especially to the kids that are a little crazy. Like, they're not a little crazy, they're a lot.
She's just like a caring person. And when you miss and you ain't eat, she'll let you come back.
Even if you come in late, you will always have food if you go in there and ask Miss Anita.
I think she cares about the students.
You're welcome, baby.
And, she goes out of her way to like hand out waters if people need it. I think that's really cool.
Hey guys, welcome to the group chat. My name is Yash Mehta, and today I'm your moderator. I'm joined today by our panelists, Callie, Amelia, and Gabe. Today, our topic is relationship building. So now that you guys have watched that segment of Extra Credit, what stood out to you?
What stood out to me was the fact that Miss Anita was always available to the students, which is not something you see all the time. And I think it was really cool that if they were late for a meal, for example, she would find something and get them something to eat because that is important.
Right. And what specific things did Miss Anita do that you think surprised you or stuck out to you?
I really like that Miss Anita took the time to treat the students like they were her own kids, and be there for them, listen to their problems, and help support them beyond what a lunch lady is supposed to do. And I think that really benefited the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a lunch lady, really, she her job did not really entail having to interact with the kids to the extent that she did, and yet still, Miss Anita um, really went above and beyond. So why do you guys think that she did this? What do you think drove her to be such a good asset to the school?
I think based on the clip, it seems like that was her character, that she wanted to connect with everyone and be helpful
Mhm.
and
Right. Yeah.
be like that.
Exactly. Right on. And so when we're talking about relationship building, um, what can we maybe learn from Miss Anita?
I think something we can learn from her is like to keep yourself open to talk to people and just care for people.
Yeah. What other roles do you think that we can maybe go above and beyond?
I think just being a student in general, I think you don't have to have a leadership position. You don't have to be on student council. You don't have to be president of a club. I think just being a student, you can go out and try to help someone if they've had a bad day, ask them how it was, just try to make people's life better, whether it's one simple act a day. And you don't necessarily need to be in a leadership role to fulfill that.
Right. And I know that you've had lots of leadership experience, Callie. But for any of you, do you guys have a specific example of when it wasn't necessarily your role to help someone out or to build a relationship or to reach out, and yet you still took that opportunity um, to do that?
For me, like at school, um, I often like to connect with underclassmen, and I feel like that's helpful for them to have somebody to like um, talk to and help around the school and just get information from.
Right. Yeah. And is that would you say is that something that you do on your own, or is that something that you have been taught to do? why exactly do you help out like that?
I think it's definitely something that like um, teachers and such encourage, but not everyone does it. But for me, I like to do it because I know that like I would definitely be very lost and
Mhm.
confused in
Yeah,
like a high school
yeah, no doubt.
environment without someone helping.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So let's switch gears for a second. How do you think that school would be without someone like Miss Anita? Because I remember one of the students saying, oh, Miss Anita is like the glue that holds the school together. So what do you think would be different without Miss Anita?
It seems to me that if Miss Anita were not at the school, that all of the students would have probably less connection with, for one, an adult that they can talk to, because they definitely feel like they can talk to Miss Anita, but also with
Hmm.
each other, because, if I can talk to the same person you can talk to, then it's easier to talk to each other.
Right. Anyone
Yeah.
else?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I also think that Miss Anita, builds like a community there, and it kind of people want to go to school and want to do better and want to work harder and be a better person when someone like that is around. So I think she helps motivate the kids to show up even if they're having a bad day because they know at least Miss Anita will be there. And so I just think like overall the children probably do better and are more motivated with her around.
Hmm. Yeah, I would totally agree. Do you guys have anyone like Miss Anita that's been in your life or in your school?
I have a teacher, and he's one of my favorite teachers, but he starts off the class every day instead of like going straight into the assignment or just making us start do work or an OA. He sits there and converses with the class and lets us converse with each other. And that kind of just builds a relationship with him and the fellow classmates. Especially like the first day of school, he has us fill out a questionnaire and go through and like do our favorite
Mhm.
food and our favorite color and just see
Right.
like what other kids in the class have similar
Mhm.
um, hobbies or interests as you. And then he continues to do it throughout the year with those 5 minutes at the beginning of class. And I just think that is so important. And it makes the classroom so much more fun. And I want to learn after those 5 minutes.
Mhm. And which class was this in?
This was in my chemistry.
Really? Okay,
So, yep.
that's
So
nice.
it was a science teacher. He
Mhm.
teaches different sciences. So I had him for chemistry and forensics this year. And he also teaches some biology and coding.
Really? Yeah, that's interesting. Because I know that for subjects like science and math, a lot of times people think that, there's just not enough time um, to take the time to get to know each other and all that when there's so much content to go through. I actually have had a similar teacher in my life. He's now retired. He's Mr. Day, and everyone loved him because he would spend the first half of class doing something called Sponge. And so Sponge is basically just a game that he made and really had nothing to do with world history, which was what the class we were in. Sometimes it would, though. Sometimes it would have some general knowledge, but it was really just a way for us to get to know each other. It would have everything from guess who types of games to 20 questions games, um, really anything that he would find and adapt from a board game. And that was definitely the highlight of most people's days in high school. And I think because of that, they were able to learn not only better in his class, but also other classes afterwards. So I totally agree with you on that point. Does anyone else have another experience like Miss Anita?
This year, in my honors English class, the teacher was pretty strict still, but she had us in groups that we did all our work together with. Like we did pretty much all group projects the entire time, and we would have the literature that we would read, but then we would discuss it, and the teacher just like really opened up conversations for like deep thinking, and it allowed the class to connect and for us to connect with the teacher, and it was pretty good class.
Mhm. And how did uh, that connection, how did that really change your attitude?
It definitely made me look forward to going to that class,
Mhm.
which I like English class, but I definitely loved it a lot more with
Yeah,
that teacher and that environment.
it's awesome. Um, so now that we know really what Miss Anita does and other people in our lives that are like Miss Anita, and also some instances that we've been like Miss Anita, now let's think about what can we do? What specific things do you think you can do at school, for example, that will help build relationships with other people?
I think
I
it's
think
important to just first of all establish with your teacher the importance of building relationships and how like it's necessary to do that with your classmates, and whether you like bring up your own concerns, maybe they'll do something and have like the 5 minutes a day, or maybe
Mhm.
they'll just spend the first day of class like getting to know each other instead of doing homework. But also for you to reach out on your own in a non-classroom situation, or just like walking the halls or something. Just try to build relationships, even if it's not necessarily with someone you already know, but just with a stranger, someone you haven't seen yet. And I think it's as much the teacher's responsibility as it is your own.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. I know one time especially that could be really good for building relationship is before class, for example. If everyone's just sitting in their seats, just making friends with the people around you can make a huge difference. Just because it's fun for you, it's fun for them, and it'll make the class better. Would you guys agree?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah. But there is one other thing with that. I mean, I know that before class, what are people usually doing?
On
on
their
their
phones.
phones.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So, I mean, you can build relationships on your phones, obviously. What are some ways you can do that?
Social media, you can connect with people, share
Mhm.
interests.
Yeah, definitely. And then in some situations, like maybe before class, maybe it's better to not use the phone, right? Maybe to talk to the person next to you, build relationships. But I definitely think that you guys have a better um, understanding of what kind of relationship building um, we can learn from Miss Anita. Do you guys have any other thoughts?
I'd like to add that another good way to just an easy way to start building relationships is just to say hi to someone every morning,
Mhm.
because I know that doesn't always happen. Like a lot of the time, it doesn't happen, but it's happened to me before, and it's like, oh, hey, this person like cares about me, and
Right.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a really nice way to do it.
Yeah. Let me guys ask you guys an honest question because I know we're talking about ideally how to build relationships, but in real life, what really happens? Like what stops you from reaching out or saying hi to someone?
I think sometimes the chaos in life, I think sometimes it's just not at the forefront of your mind and you have too much other stuff going on, or
Mhm.
even just like being nervous. Sometimes you can be intimidated by other people or
Right.
like worried that they're not going to like you, so you just
Mhm.
don't reach out. But I think it's important to put yourself outside of that comfort zone and
Mhm.
just try it, because the worst that can happen is, it doesn't work out, but at least you tried and put yourself out there.
Right. And you talked about people being too nervous sometimes, or you being too nervous to reach out. How many of you guys, just raise your hands, sometimes feel kind of nervous to like just talk to someone or like reach out or say hi? Raise your hand. Okay, so that's 4 out of 4 people in this room. So maybe if you're watching this, don't feel so bad about reaching out because chances are the person that you're going to talk to feels just as nervous as you do, and um, making friends with them might be the best thing that happened that day for them. Cool. So that being said, I think um, I learned a lot from Miss Anita, and I'm glad that you guys also learned a lot from Miss Anita. And I think we all have a little bit of her inside of us, and hopefully we can use what we learned today to channel that and build some relationships. Thank you guys for joining us for the group chat, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
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 Bye.